listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from Fan Expo in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Rye the Movie Guy, and sitting alongside us is Fill Me In Phil.
Hello.
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we are talking secret weapons in movies, our top 5 favorite secret weapons.
Yeah, this was a tough one, man. I mean, we'll get to it, but this was a little difficult to research.
100%. I went over my letterboxed movies that I've seen, which I've been keeping a log of now for probably like 8 years. So I got like 1,000 movies. And I was scrolling through just trying to think of movies
that had a secret weapon?
Yeah, because it is very difficult to research. And when we're talking research, a lot of times you got to go to Google just to spark your imagination of like, oh, right, these kinds of movies. That was difficult to come up with this time.
I agree. And before we go any further, we should mention that we're recording live from the show floor at Fan Expo. So if it sounds a little different and you hear people talking in the background, that is why. We tried to find a little quiet spot, and I think we've done pretty good.
Did pretty good. And we still got some people walking around in costumes, cosplay.
Yeah. There's a Robin. There's a Batgirl.
Right. Rumor has it Phil is going to be Princess Peach tomorrow.
They are.
Well done.
They are.
I'm excited.
For all we know, that's all I ever am. You've never seen me and Princess Peach in the same room, and that's for a reason.
Jawheads, we will get photos. We will get photos on our Instagram.
I've actually seen Phil's Princess Peach outfit. It's fantastic.
Can't wait to see it. So we're doing secret weapons because there was a movie that we saw, which we're reviewing this week, that has a secret weapon. It's entitled Heart of Stone.
Yeah, Gal Gadot, Netflix. Can't go wrong, Rye.
So that's our review this week. Plus, it's still Seth Rogan month. We have that going. We love Seth Rogan here on Cinemajaw. And I was thinking, we are a week out from Blue Beetle. This is DC's EU or DC Films is what they're calling it now. And we know James Gunn took over. Sort of the first movie that's launching. Not that he was completely behind it. It obviously started in production before he took over for DC.
Seems like it's not a great thing.
But they're going with it and said he will be the first character inside the DC new universe under James Gunn. The movie might not connect to the old stuff anymore, but this
What do you mean it's not going to connect?
Well, I think James Gunn may go in a new direction, and I hope that he is.
What do you mean by a new direction? Well, like it's got to connect. It's got to form up into a bigger story arc.
No, that's exactly
what
a
universe is.
No,
it's DCEU.
No, listen to me for 1 second.
I'm listening.
What I want is for James Gunn to take over DC and DC universe and not worry about connecting every little movie like Marvel has. So don't follow in those footsteps.
It's DC universe. Hold the universe.
Yeah, I mean, just do DC films.
All right.
That's all I want.
I disagree. I think that's a terrible idea, Ryan.
What, you want them all to connect exactly what Marvel's doing?
Well, not exactly, but they need to have the connective tissue.
I don't think so. I think do standalone films, elsewhere worlds. I love all that stuff.
You know what? There's no guest. We should have a CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR. You're going down, Matt Kay.
Probably not. We'll see. You know what? We got to find like a rando to judge or something.
Right. We'll look around the showroom floor here. There's a lot of people in costume, as we said. If somebody won't judge it, Phil is always a wrecking ball of judgment.
True.
Also, Matt, no guest, so we are playing Stump the Kubinski, and we are doing Stones movie trivia in honor of Heart of Stone.
I dig it.
Sound good?
Stones, like Rolling Stones?
Or the whole family of them.
Just Stones. That's all I'm telling you.
All right.
So it's still August. It's still Seth Rogen month. And let's kick it off with the Seth Rogen fact.
Yes, this week's fact, actually, this is shocking. Did you know Seth Rogen likes marijuana?
What?
I had no idea.
That's our fact. That's what it is. I'm kidding. Thank you, Seth.
We know Seth loves it.
Very funny. But do we know how much Seth loves it? And yeah, actually we do. But to illustrate the point of how much Seth Rogen loves it, so there's a few things. He owns a cannabis business with Evan Goldberg, longtime writing partner.
Yeah.
And even to the so the very first moment that Seth Rogen met Steven Spielberg was actually Seth Rogen lighting a joint. In an interview with Howard Stern, Seth goes on to talk about the moment and says, it was this awkward moment where, like, Steven Spielberg came up to me, like, as I had this joint in my hand, and I could just tell he did not like it. It was a very judgmental moment. Seth would go on to say, you're confronted with this thing, and I was like, what, do I fucking try to hide it? Do I just keep smoking it? And I guess it all worked out. He was in Fabelmans. I personally would like to believe that Steven Spielberg had a childhood once and partook during the Fabelmans
and smoked some weed with Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
I will say, though, in the Fabelmans, there is a scene where they offer marijuana to Steven Spielberg, the character filling in for Spielberg,
right.
Sammy in the movie, and he refuses it. It's a sentimental moment in the movie where he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I thought to myself, I think that's Spielberg saying he never went down that drug corridor. So I don't know.
But
I wonder.
How much, we don't know what happened behind the scenes here, and my local school district's DARE program probably lined Steven's pockets, you know what I'm saying? We have no way of knowing. Maybe he's just appealing to the DARE audience.
Well, you know what? These days it's like if somebody comes up to you and you're smoking a cigarette. Same thing. Like,
no,
it's just,
a cigarette's
uncouth.
worse. A cigarette's worse.
I would agree.
Than weed.
I agree. And even worse than that is when Matt Kay rolls his own in front of people, which he does. It doesn't matter.
Is it gross? I mean,
it
is it
doesn't
weird?
even matter if you're outside of a convention like we were today. Matt pulls out this contraption, rolls his own cigarette, and then goes on to smoke it in front of people. And it's like, I mean, it's just a bizarre sight. I got to say, Matt. I mean, you just don't see people rolling their own cigarettes in a machine like that outside of a convention. Explain it.
Right. But those who do roll their own usually don't bring the contraption to roll with them. They do it all at home.
Right, like smart people.
Right. I have done it this way in hopes of slowing my smoking down, and it does work. But I agree.
I don't think so.
No, it does. It's a lot to carry, and, it's a lot to do. So sometimes I'm just like, meh.
I'm
Screw
just
it.
reconciling with the fact that all the time, the decade that I've known Matt, I've never had the heart to tell him that Big League Chew isn't actual tobacco and he's not rolling cigarettes.
That's why it tastes like grapes.
Probably tastes delicious.
It does.
Good stuff. Well, Seth Rogen month rolling along here. And, wow, there's a Robin dressed up over there. That's exciting.
Yeah? Nice.
Just went by.
I mean, yeah. Oh.
Somebody else wearing like some wings over there.
I think that's Constantine.
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Thank you, Phil.
I don't know what's going on around here. It's a great atmosphere.
It is.
Let's get the show rolling, though, with our review of Heart of Stone, Matt.
Ryan, outside of her early smashing success as Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot has had trouble finding a foothold in Hollywood. Project after project have been less than outstanding. Now, after penning a deal with Netflix, the Amazonian superhero is at the helm of an action espionage entry dripping with AI subterfuge and that Gal Gadot charisma. But can one get by on looks alone? Ryan and I went all in on our pocket aces and checked out Heart of Stone.
You know what you signed up for. No friends. No relationships. What we do is too important. When governments fail, the only thing left is the charter.
The most highly trained agents.
It's a bigger operation.
No political leanings.
What's with all the speculation?
No national allegiances.
Time to make a statement.
Working together to keep peace in a turbulent world.
Time to free my mind of limitation.
How many in the welcome party?
6 of them.
Finesse the majors, that's my form of reparations. They said you can't slide, you're a treasure to the nation.
Hardly seems fair.
Gal Gadot plays Rachel Stone, an intelligence operative working for, well, I'll get to that. When we meet her, Rachel and her team are working for MI6 and taking down an arms dealer. However, a shadowy rumor pervades their radio chatter. Rumors of the Charter, and a clandestine group within the clandestine groups, an organization that has no national allegiances, no political leanings, a group of highly trained, death-defying agents with no limits on jurisdiction, who do the most impossible missions in order to keep the peace in a turbulent world. And if that sounds familiar, yeah, this is a Mission Impossible clone. The Charter has developed an AI called the Heart that guides their moves using probability in almost a clairvoyant way. Wouldn't you know it, their most powerful weapon gets stolen and turned against them and becomes the MacGuffin. It's up to Rachel Stone to retrieve the Heart, stop the baddies, and save the world. Like you do. I want to start, Rye, with the props. There are some really cool action beats in this movie. A shame that they are slathered with crappy CG overlays. But putting that aside, I did have fun through some of the exciting firefights and chase sequences. One scene in particular sees the good guys drifting a cargo van through narrow European alleyways while shooting a machine gun out the sliding door. It was cool. Also, I know Ryan and I are going to agree to disagree on this, but I think the acting from Gadot is good. In fact, the entire cast is pretty good. Jamie Dornan supplies one of the most shocking scenes this year. Unfortunately, this tuned-up cast was given an unoriginal script with a clumsy and clunky, predictable beat. The characters are not fleshed out beyond cardboard cutouts, and the MacGuffin falls flat after the very well-done AI intrigue of Dead Reckoning. Another big dig for me was the editing. Just not sure what the hell they're going for here. The cuts seem random and out of place, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the swimsuit scene. You don't have Gal Gadot get out of a pool in a swimsuit, not a bikini, mind you, very tasteful, just to cut away. I mean, why have the scene at all? I'm not trying to objectify people here, but did we cut away when Daniel Craig came out of the ocean in his Speedos? Did we? No, because sexiness is a part of the spy movie lexicon. But I digress. Heart of Stone is a boring, predictable, wannabe franchise, Mission Impossible clone. It had some fun moments, but utterly skippable.
I agree, Matt, with you. Other than Gal Gadot actually put in a decent performance.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that. I thought really hard about that.
Oh, my God.
Let's start there. Because you actually commented to me on the way out of the theater. You don't think she's a strong actress at all.
Oh, no. Now I actually would say I solidified my opinion. She sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go that far. I think she's actually terrible. If she didn't look like Wonder Woman and, fit that role pretty well.
She did. She did a great job in
and
those
she did
movies.
a great job in Wonder Woman. Outside of that, nothing. I've been looking for it. I was like, let's see if she's going to turn into a pretty decent actress or somebody that could also launch other trilogies or franchises, and there is nothing here. And this is the Judgment Day. This is her movie, clearly meant to be a franchise.
Clearly.
And
they all but have Freddy Krueger's hand coming out of the ground to pull Jason's.
This is clearly meant to be a franchise for Netflix, and it's crap. She is so wooden in this.
I disagree.
And you are so right, though, on the sex appeal of the spy genre. It is part of the genre.
Sure.
And she doesn't even bring the sexy sassiness of the spy. Maybe she could have went in that direction. Doesn't do that. She
so is that Gal's
nothing.
fault though? Okay, wait. We're mixing criticisms here. Let's talk about Gal Gadot's acting.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, you either got to go that direction or you got to go,
But that's not her choice. That's the filmmaker's choice.
But if you're going to go the other way and you're going to go sort of like the straight spy cadet or whatever you want to call the person that...
A secret agent.
A secret agent that she is, then your acting's got to be top-notch, and the action scenes have got to be believable.
They were okay. Okay.
I could tell when I'm watching it, it's either a stunt double or it's definitely somebody wearing a wig or a CG.
They didn't pay for stunt doubles.
Nothing of this felt authentic. And her acting is, I literally thought, anybody could do this. This is not even a professional actor. It's somebody just standing in front of the camera, reading lines, and that's all she's doing. I'm like, well, my God, at least give an effort here. That's how I felt. I thought it was atrocious.
I'm going to say something very out of character. I respect your opinion, Ryan, but I disagree. I think that she brought sympathy and charisma to the role. I have no hard time falling in love with Gal Gadot. And I'm not just talking about the way she looks, because absolutely she's a stunner. But it's not that. She has a charisma. She pulled me in. I think all the actors, Jamie Dornan, right, who plays Parker, and we won't go into where his allegiances lie because that's a spoiler, was fantastic. So was, I don't want to say Gal Gadot was fantastic, but she was highly serviceable, not a dud.
Disagree.
All right, it was not the acting. It was the script. The script is terrible. The dialogue is atrocious. It was not the actor's fault that this movie sucks.
Both. Sometimes an actor, though, can elevate bad material. This was
I'll
bad
give you that.
material. This was bad material, and the acting didn't elevate it
True.
to any level higher than bad. So, I mean, I think this movie's bad because of the writing, and I think the acting elevated it to bad, stayed at bad. That's where everything was. And the action sequences.
I had a little fun.
There was one, and we'll get to it when we get to the jaw-dropping moments, where I would say, well, that was fun. But again, nothing believable. I wrote, for my take on the movie, watered-down Mission Impossible, like
Very
you said.
James Bond, early 80s James Bond.
And when we just came out of Dead Reckoning and making such a big deal about how Tom Cruise does all his own stunts, and how it is still an event because he does, and you can feel it when you're watching those movies.
Maybe too much, as we mentioned.
Talk about the exact opposite here. This is Gal Gadot dodging pine trees in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
As she's going down a ski slope. There is no authenticity to this movie at all. The whole thing felt fake, green screened, bad CGI. And
lighting, too, right?
Oh, terrible. I mean, they tried to do it in the dark, I think, to hide some of the CGI.
But there's a sequence in the air where they're on like a dirigible, an airship. And the lighting is so terrible. It looks fake. I remember looking at it, I'm like, this looks like a video game.
Right.
Yeah, it was terrible. In fact, like Legend of Zelda probably has better lighting than this movie did. So I don't even want to dig on video games.
I agree. And you're right. The plot is it's almost identical to Dead Reckoning, just worse because the AI here
has no personality.
Right. That's a good way to say it. No personality. It's not realized the way Dead Reckoning. Here, what was that? Maybe 4 episodes ago, the Jawheads will remember. We're reviewing that, and we were talking about AI, and we did our whole top 5 on AI because that character inside Dead Reckoning was so scary and so tangible. Like there was something about this idea.
It, right? It felt like a HAL from like 2001.
Right. You take that and you come to this, and it's like, oh my God, this is the generic AI. Even the actual device that they steal. So there's like a crystal device.
Stupid.
So dumb. I mean, what could that possibly do? It makes zero sense.
It's like a vacuum tube. You remember like when you used to go to the drive-thru at the bank with your mom or your dad, and they put the little put their check in the tube and
and sometimes you get a sucker back when they'd put the money back through that tube.
Right, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it was in one of those tubes.
Isn't it so convenient when the MacGuffin gets stolen and they bring it to another location that location, which has no knowledge of this MacGuffin, has the exact right port to accept this tube-shaped thing, and now it's suddenly connected to the mainframe.
Right. I mean, wouldn't the
bad writing?
Wouldn't the actual mechanics of the computer operating system that they're putting it into be the most important thing, other than that little thing that they're going to steal? You know what I mean? It just makes no sense. They're going to steal this small little thing and then put it into this mainframe computer. The mainframe computer is actually the main thing doing the work.
Yeah.
Not this little thing they're going to steal and then hook it up to it. Come on.
Dumb.
Really dumb. Didn't like it at all.
No. So this is fair to say Mission Impossible clone?
Yeah. Watered down Mission Impossible is the way I've been calling it. It's definitely in the... It's also one of those, because Mission Impossible plays a lot with the idea of you don't know whose team everybody's on.
Right, and this does that here.
100%. It's right in that same ballpark where it's like, oh, is Gal Gadot a good person or not? Or, whose team is she on?
And there's teams within the teams.
And, there's somebody else overseeing everything.
And are they the good guys? Oh, speaking of overseeing, we should mention Helen Mirren. Right?
No, Glenn Close.
Glenn Close.
Yes, Glenn Close.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, Glenn Close pops up. I'm 100% sure she's in there for the long haul, thinking this might be a franchise, and her character was going to maybe come back But in the movie, we see otherwise. But it is, how these movies are. If you don't see a dead body, you're not really dead.
True.
So I don't know exactly where that was going to go, but there's no way she just took this, not thinking that it might lead to something else within like a expanded universe.
It's like a Hollywood scratch-off ticket.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Anything else on the film of note?
Probably, but it's so lackluster that I would just rather get to our jaw-dropping moments.
I will say, I'm just so disappointed in Netflix for keeping churning these out.
Well,
This is their problem.
Well, I liked The Gray Man, right? Which I don't think enough people saw. I think it was very decent because it was a bit of a satire. It was tongue-in-cheek.
I would put The Gray Man above this.
Yes.
But still, that was like they were really
Swinging
pumping
for
that
the
out.
fences.
And it still wasn't that good.
Extraction 2?
Decent. Those
Very
are decent. But
Well, I thought it was serviceable.
What I'm saying is all of these movies are decent for Netflix. Give it a spin. But I don't know if I would recommend any movie that you just mentioned if people had to go plop down $15 to go to the theater. All of them, I would say, stay home. Stay home. Nothing is as good as what the other studios are doing right now.
You're right.
Yeah,
I don't say those words lightly, Ryan.
Roma.
Yeah. Roma. Don't get me wrong. They do make some end of the year. They go for award fodder and they go for the good stuff.
But I think
yes.
Apple's been stealing their thunder. Once Netflix did it, they're never going to do it again. Because they're going to just get outbid.
It's just, I just get so frustrated that this is what we're getting. And it's like, oh, well, it's good enough if they're sitting on their couch and they got to hit play. They'll enjoy it.
And you will.
And you will. I don't know about this one.
No,
I wouldn't
listen,
even recommend this to watch at home.
I disagree. Well, let's get to it, Ryan. What's your movie poster quote?
So,
or what's your jaw-dropping moment?
So my jaw-dropping moment was the aerial scene, which starts off in really bad CGI, like you said. They're on this it's almost like a blimp, but it's not quite a blimp. I don't know what you would call it.
I would call it a blimp.
I don't think it was technically a blimp.
It was like a high-atmosphere blimp.
All right, we'll go with blimp, but it seemed like it was some sort
A
of
dirigible?
some sort of aircraft. But
an airship, Ryan?
The
Was it filled with hydrogen?
The CGI looked terrible at that point, and really the whole way through. But at least it was an exciting action sequence when she jumps off of that and she goes to rescue another woman who is unconscious, falling from the sky at that point.
That was cool.
That entire scene was all right.
Except for the camera work.
Yeah, it tried to do some weird stuff going around. Like
Didn't work.
That was going to add to the intensity of the action. It didn't really work. But I will say, at least that was thrilling, for a bit. And I'm just giving it I at least raised my eyebrows. The rest of the time, I was sleeping throughout this thing. At least my eyebrows raised during that 5-minute scene.
A Gal Gadot movie, and that's all that got raised, huh?
Yep.
Huh. I would say my jaw drop was what I am calling Parker's turn. And I'm not talking about my kid. I'm talking about the character in the film. I don't want to spell it out because it is a bit of a twist. One of the more shocking moments of the year for me.
Don't go that far.
No, I am going that far.
Also.
I was shocked. This movie pulled out one of the more shocking scenes of the year. I didn't see it coming. Totally unpredictable. And it got me. It got me good. And I think the chase, the whole action sequence that led up to that scene was solid. The van car chase through the streets of... What city were they in? Rome? They were in Italy.
Were they in Italy at that
Dude,
time?
I don't know. Let's just say Europe.
No, you know where I think they were in Lisbon. Yes,
they were in Lisbon.
Portugal.
Yeah.
They were, yes, because in fact, when they went there, I thought, because I love when they go to places that I've been to for vacation, and I've been to Lisbon a couple of times, and I was like, ooh, this is good. Right, they go down one of my favorite moments also. This is also a jaw-dropping moment. You're right, that whole chase. And they go down that elevated street where they have the cable cars going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really neat. And
so there are some fun action moments in this movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my jaw-dropping moment. How about a poster quote?
I went with another forgettable Netflix buster.
I mean, I think you're being a little harsh. My poster quote is, Heart of Stone is hardly Mission Impossible. How many jaws?
1.5.
That's exactly where I went.
Oh, okay.
I'm scared. Why 1.5? You didn't go 1.
Well, I could go 1. All right, I'll go 1. You twisted my arm, Matt. I'll go 1.
I mean,
The more we're talking about it, you're right. It's 1 star. It's a 1 Jaw movie.
I disagree. I think this is approaching middle of the road. If you watch it on Netflix, it's not a total crapper.
That's the thing. This is what we're saying to people. Well, you're at home.
Right,
Mom
we're
buys
making
it, watch it. It's
caveats.
Like, right, we're giving them like this leeway that we wouldn't give any other studio.
Yeah, but it's Netflix.
Yeah. 1 Jaw, I would stay away from this one myself. 1.5 for Matt K. I mean, there was the secret weapon element, obviously. They called it, what'd they call it, Mother?
The Heart.
Sorry, the Heart. There's the hardest tone.
Mother.
That's how forgettable this movie is. So they called it The Heart, and that got us thinking. We went back and forth. What should we do for our top 5? And Matt came up with secret weapons.
Dude, this list is better than the movie.
I agree. But I will say I love when you come up with the list. I love this. Matt comes up with the list. I say, okay. I know I do the research before Matt, because Matt, his personality.
I'll wait till the last second.
He waits till the last second to do
Yes.
everything. You told me this, I think, on Tuesday after we saw the movie.
Probably.
And I started doing the research. I thought, man, this is tough. I mean,
This is a tough one.
I was going for hours, like looking through movies and trying to come up with ideas. And I'm like, man, Matt is going to screw himself here because he's going to wait till the last minute. And
Right. So what I did was I thought of one immediately. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, there's one. There's going to be hundreds. And then I was like, oh, shit. 4 o'clock today, I'm scrambling trying to get my top 5. But I got 5.
all right.
No honorables for me. You want me to get started, right?
Why don't you get started with your number 5 pick? I can't wait to hear your secret weapons.
Okay. So you're going to have to give me a little bit of leeway on this one because technically speaking, it's not a weapon, but it depends on how you define weapon because this definitely thwarted the enemy's plans. It is Frodo's mithril armor in Fellowship of the Ring. He gets stabbed by a spear from a cave troll. This should have eviscerated him.
I love that cave troll, too.
Yeah, oh, great sequence.
Totally.
This should have totally lanced him, but he survives. And the Fellowship all think he's dead. Gimli starts crying, and they roll him over, and he's still breathing, and they pull his shirt aside. Gleaming is this mithril undershirt, which is like this special metal. It's like adamantium for the elves of Middle-earth. Cannot be pierced by any weapon. So you could call that a weapon. They gave it to Frodo to defend him, but it was a weapon against the enemy because
Sure.
they had to defend Frodo.
I actually like this pick. I'm going to be honest with this list. You got to be somewhat wide open. Mine aren't like everything was perfectly secret. You got to be a little creative when you're coming up with lists with secret weapons.
Agree.
And yes, that moment when they realized that he was wearing the armor underneath is fantastic.
Yeah. And Gimli's like, mithril. Yeah.
Love it. All right, my number 5 pick is an actual person is the weapon.
Okay.
And this comes from the 2016 movie Girl with All the Gifts, which was a zombie movie.
I think what's her name?
Glenn Close is also in this, believe it or not.
Yeah, but who's the
I don't have the main actress. It's not a
isn't it Aubrey Plaza?
no.
Okay.
Can we throw it in the fish tank who the main actress is? But it's not. It is not
Aubrey
Plaza.
Okay.
But I don't know who the main actress is who plays the girl. But if you've seen the television show or played the game The Last of Us, which was on HBO.
Yeah, negative. I still got to catch up with that stuff.
Now that I've seen that this past year, it really resembles the plot of Girl with All the Gifts. So same idea. A fungus breaks out, zombie apocalypse takes place, and this is a second generation now of a girl who's almost like a half zombie, half human hybrid. And
Okay.
Glenn Close is a scientist who believes that this girl could
Is
be
the
the
key.
secret weapon, if you will,
Yeah.
to fight back against the zombies.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
So she's going to use her as like the weapon against the zombies. But the movie takes a big twist. I don't want to ruin where it goes. Like it a lot, though. It was on Amazon Prime last I saw. Can we also throw that in the fish tank where it's streaming? I don't know if it's an Amazon exclusive or if it moves around to the different streaming services. But kind of like flew under the radar because usually the zombie movies are like a big production. Everybody knows what they are.
Or tiny production.
Or
right?
tiny
Yeah.
production. This fits under that tiny where it's like, oh, what was this movie? It was sort of a hidden gem, if you will.
Nice.
But I do really like this film.
The girl with all the gifts.
Yep.
Dude, I have not seen this one.
It's a good one.
I know.
It definitely is worth a spin.
I remember you telling me to see this. All right, that swings it around to my number 4. And I am going with, again, I had to get creative here. I'm going with the pen in Grosse Point Blank, which I think is a nice callback to John Cusack's character Lloyd. I gave her my heart. She gave me a pen. Yeah.
I think you're stretching there, but okay.
Maybe stretching, but I think it might have been the intent of the filmmakers, where this character is an assassin and he goes back to his hometown. He goes to his high school reunion. He winds up getting into a fight in the hallway while he's looking for his old high school locker with another assassin. And he has to make an impromptu weapon, takes a pen out, and stabs this guy in the neck. Secret weapon, a pen.
I don't know. Was it really a secret weapon?
No. Kinda. That's what I'm going for.
If we were doing our top 5 impromptu weapons, that would be maybe a number 1. But I mean, was it a secret weapon, a pen?
A pen is my secret weapon, Ryan.
Jesus.
The microphone is my secret weapon.
All right. Matt's 1 for 2 on this list.
All right, I'll take that.
My number 4 is it's from a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how secret this weapon was. That's my only problem with it not being higher on the list. But I went with Nero from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Red Matter. This was J.J. Abrams' Star Trek 2009.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one that comes out. You have Nero, who is the main villain.
Boy, nobody remembers that movie, dude.
Oh, I like this one a lot because the weapon here is this thing called red matter, which can actually turn a planet into a black hole. It destroys Vulcan.
Vulcan. Yeah.
However
where
you
Spock
say
is
it.
from.
Right.
Yeah.
Destroys his entire planet.
Wow.
This red matter does. And it was like sort of shocking that anybody even knew that this thing could exist. It was, dare I say, the secret weapon here. And there's a time travel element, obviously, involved in this Star Trek.
Because we get Leonard Nimoy in one of his final appearances.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that the idea is that they put Spock on this planet to see his own planet get destroyed. They marooned him like on a moon, I believe. It might be another planet, but I believe it's a moon. But it's within distance of Vulcan, and he can see his own planet get destroyed.
Yeah, he would have died too. I mean, the gravity would have...
Right, would have killed him more than likely. But the red matter by Nero is my secret weapon number 4.
That's a good pick, Ryan. That is a left field pick for you. Never thought I would have got J.J. Abrams.
I had to dig deep.
Apparently. All right, so I'm getting into the good stuff here. At number 3, the James Bond series has a number of secret weapons.
Sure does.
Right? I mean, James Bond constantly goes into his bag of tricks from Q to pull out an EMP watch or a pen that shoots bullets or laser shoes or some crazy shit like that. But I think the most iconic is not actually one of Bond's gadgets. It belongs to a villain. And I'm going with Odd Job's hat from Goldfinger.
I love Odd Job.
Dude, who doesn't love Odd Job? And when he takes off his top hat and throws it,
that's
slices
awesome.
the head right off of a marble statue.
It's awesome, man.
That's a great pick, Ryan. And Seth Rogen agrees with me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, I remember he was in the video game.
Odd Job. Oh, yeah, GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
For sure.
And everybody loved to play Odd Job.
You couldn't use his hat?
No, you couldn't use his hat, though. I always wish you could have.
Did you ever go slaps only?
Yes. I mean...
We're gonna have a CinemaJaw arm wrestling match later.
We're going to see.
Yeah, no, we're doing this.
Okay.
All right.
Phil versus Matt, I want to clarify. That this was already brought up before.
Oh, you're not going
to
to partake?
No.
Come on.
My back hurts from carrying the show.
Okay. Jeez. All right, what's your next pick, Ryan?
My number 3 pick, 1997. Sci-fi film also. Event Horizon is the movie.
Yeah.
The secret weapon is the experimental gravity drive.
Boy, you're giving me shit about the pen in Grosse Point Blank, and you went Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is a very interesting film.
It's a Hellraiser knockoff.
It works. I like.
I don't know.
Event
Does it?
Horizon quite a bit. Haven't seen it now in a few years, but I did go back and revisit it. I want to say maybe 6-7 years ago, and I remember thinking, yeah, it is better than I remember it.
It's the guy from Jurassic Park,
Right.
Sam Neill.
And I believe the villain. Boy, I don't know.
He is
if,
the villain.
I mean, no, he's the main villain that is. They go on the ship. I believe is from Lost, the television show Lost.
I don't know. It's a Hellraiser.
Am I right
knockoff.
on that, Phil? You're nodding or no? I don't know. Throw in who's in Event Horizon in the fish tank. I'm not positive the actors. I know
All right.
Sam Neill's in it. You're right.
Yeah.
100%.
He was the villain. But go on.
He's not the villain.
Well, he becomes the villain.
So the experimental gravity drive in Event Horizon, again, very much like the red matter in Star Trek, creates black holes. But what it does is the drive opened up a gateway to a hellish dimension outside of the known universe. And when the ship comes to rescue the another ship that had won out, the Event Horizon, they go out there and they find this crew, and this video of the crew had all like killed themselves, gouged their eyes out. They didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And it's what happened when they put this drive on that messed with their minds.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I call it a secret weapon because it's one of those things very much like when we were seeing Oppenheimer going to do the Trinity test. It's theory, hey, this is what's going to happen. But when that ship went out there, they didn't know exactly what was going to take place with this experimental drive. And when they did it, all hell broke loose.
Right, literally. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy meets Hellraiser. Like the infinite improbability drive, only instead of like whales and whimsical things appearing out of nowhere, it's like Pinhead and people ripping their eyes out and things like that. Very derivative movie, but it somehow did work. At least it's got staying power.
It does. It does. I'm telling you, I've watched it not too long ago, and it worked for me again. I was like, yes, I like this flick.
It's interesting. It's the Hellraiser in space we should have gotten. All right. I am going at my number 2 with an iconic secret weapon. Now, if you think about it from today's point of view, it seems very obvious and like, that's a weak pick, Matt. But if you think about it from the point of view of 1977, when we first got this, when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker are in the land speeder and first arrive in Mos Eisley, and the stormtroopers say, "Can we see your papers?" And what are these droids? And Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "These are not the droids you're looking for. We can go about our business." You know, the Force as the secret weapon. Brilliant pick, Ryan.
You blew this one.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Do you have another Star Wars pick ahead?
No.
Oh, for sure, the Death Star. The Death Star is actually a secret weapon.
Oh, is this your number 2 pick?
No.
Oh.
But I left it as an honorable mention because I thought, well, this is a real easy one. I won't pick this one because I'm sure Matt will. But
well,
when you
I didn't go Death Star. I went with the Force.
But when you think about it, the Force is not.
The Force is a secret weapon.
No, it is not.
It is to
No,
a
it's not.
Jedi, sure. Those stormtroopers were expecting Obi-Wan Kenobi to use the Force on them?
They weren't, but it was a known thing inside the Star Wars universe. Inside the Star Wars universe, the Force is known. People talk about it. Some say it's mythical, but people know what the Force is. It's not a secret weapon. The Death Star is a secret weapon inside the original Star Wars.
Ryan, I find your
And
lack
Rogue
of
One.
faith disturbing.
You could have won Death Star. That's where I would have won if I was going Star Wars.
Well, I went with the Force.
My number 2 pick came out in 2020.
Okay. I can't wait to poop on it.
It's directed by Brandon Cronenberg.
Not gonna,
Cronenberg's son.
probably not going to poop on this.
And it is the movie is Possessor.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet? Or?
No, I still haven't.
I
know.
love
I heard it
Possessor.
was amazing.
So in the plot is in an alternate 2008, there is an assassin who takes control of other people's bodies to carry out hits. And she does this through an implant installed in the unwitting person's brain. So there's an implant in there, and then she's able to take over that person's body. They go on and do the hit, kill somebody, and then they eventually kill themselves. So the
Yikes.
secret weapon is this.
The implant.
Is the implant.
How do they get that shit in there?
It's fantastic. But what happens in the movie is this assassin puts an implant in one of her cells, if you will, and this person tries to stab the implant out of its head, and she actually gets trapped inside this person's head, and she can't get out. So she goes in to make to make the kill,
Yeah.
and then she can't get out of the person's body
So like Inception-ish?
in a hellish way.
Okay.
I
Wow.
really like Possessor, and most people I think have seen it. You still haven't, but it definitely gained some traction with the people. I mean, Cronenberg's got a name. Even the offspring of Cronenberg, like Brandon here. Once you hear he's making a
Son
movie,
of Cronenberg.
yeah, son of Cronenberg, you got to see the movie. I do enjoy this one. Check it out, Possessor, Secret Weapon, The Implant.
All right, that swings us into our number ones. And in my opinion, there is no better movie secret weapon than Daniel LaRusso's crane kick from The Karate Kid.
Holy cow!
What a secret weapon. The whole movie, we see Miyagi up on the posts on the beach practicing this, and Daniel's watching from a distance. You only see Miyagi in silhouette practicing this strange move that he never outwardly teaches Daniel. He just observes. And then at the karate tournament, the All Valley
All Valley under 18.
Yeah.
Karate
it
tournament.
looks like it's all over for Daniel's son. But lo and behold, he pulls out the crane kick. Everyone's like, "What the hell are you doing? Picking up 1 foot." And I don't know about you, Ryan, but I would like do that. If somebody was like stepping to me on the playground in 1988, I would pick up one leg
I used to do it also.
Put my arms up and be like, "What's up now?"
Everybody laughed.
Yeah, but it still worked. Secret weapon.
They should have had somebody in the crowd being like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, what is that? But also it worked. Like Johnny wasn't afraid of it, but then he
No.
stepped to it and got his nose kicked
I
in.
actually think when you're watching it now, it's like, why wasn't Johnny more shocked? I mean, it's the most bizarre thing. He's standing on 1 foot like a bird, and he's doing this crane movement in the tournament. Like, dude.
I mean, he should have seen it coming. It's a really ridiculous move when you step back
I know.
from it.
What could you possibly do from that stance other than jump kick? You're not going to swing your right arm out of that stance.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it just throws people off. But whatever. It's a great secret weapon from the movies.
That's a good pick, actually, at number one, since we're having a fun list here. My number one is a film that came out in 2020, right before the pandemic. It was that February release, The Invisible Man. And I'm going with the invisible suit in The Invisible Man.
Really? At number one,
yes,
dude?
Yes.
I can't get behind this.
And here's why I put it at number one, Matt. I gave this much thought. So I like the idea that it was a secret. No one knew that he could have created a suit that would have worked on the optics that would have created him invisible, right?
Okay.
So then it's like, oh my God, this guy's invisible. And the only one that believes that this could have been was his ex-girlfriend,
Elizabeth Moss. Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss is going to the people, and she's trying to explain, I think he's still around. She's in her mind.
Right, but he's dead in the eyes
plot
of
of
the
the
law,
movie.
yeah.
In the eyes of the law, he's dead, but she still thinks he's alive, and maybe he's invisible, which seems ludicrous,
yeah.
right? It seems insane. Like, well, the guy can't just be lurking around the kitchen here cooking brownies invisible. Lo and behold, he is. He's in the kitchen. He is invisible. He is around. And the idea is that the suit was the secret weapon. No one knew that this thing existed, so it even seems more far-fetched that he would ever be alive and invisible because no one believes that the weapon, in this case, the weapon being the suit, ever existed. So it's like she is almost being tried as an insane person for explaining that she thinks that this guy could be, invisible. When in fact, he really is. He has this suit and he's invisible. Man.
Well, I think the movie is actually a lot smarter than people give it credit for.
Oh, wow.
I do.
And in 2020, when we reviewed the film, that was your criticism of it.
Was it?
It was.
But the suit is stupid. I stand by that criticism. But I'm saying that the movie is about gaslighting and not believing women And like if somebody's victimized, you call them crazy and things
Go back
like this.
and watch our YouTube review. You wanted to say that the movie should have had more to say. Look at how much it did have to say.
All right, you know what? I will, because it at least has stuck with me this much that it had at least that much to say.
Honorable mentions here, Matt. I had Rogue One or Star Wars. Either one you wanted to go with. The Death Star.
The Death Star, sure.
I love that. Outbreak. Dustin Hoffman movie from late 80s.
Oh, I remember.
89, 90, maybe 91. Right in that era right there.
It was in the 90s.
Okay, maybe 90s. There's an outbreak.
A pandemic.
And they're going to nuke this town. But the secret weapon here is that the flashbacks go back to that the military knew that there was this virus.
Of course they did.
And they could have killed it back then, but there was this idea of like maybe weaponizing it, the secret weapon. Dances with Wolves. And the weapon here is when all the Indians, so John Dunbar, who is Kevin Costner, befriends all the Indians. They end up going out hunting.
Okay.
He is with the wives and the children of the tribe, and another tribe comes to attack them, and they know that they're going to get attacked. And he says, I still have my guns at his camp. And the Indians all go with John Dunbar and get the guns and end up fighting this other tribe. And the secret weapon would be the guns, because at this point it seemed like there was no way they were going to win. That was a stretch, but it was something I thought of.
All right.
Anything else for you?
I mean, that's like saying Footloose, and the secret weapon was dance. You know?
It's not bad. I would have gave that to you.
All right.
It's better than the pen.
It might be better than the pen.
Jawheads, if we missed your favorite secret weapon in movies, shoot us an X at CinemaJaw.
An X? We're saying that now?
I'm not really. A tweet. I was saying that to get a reaction out of you.
Email us, everybody.
Email. Yeah. Feedback at cinemajaw.com. Again, we are hanging out on the floor here at the Fan Expo in Chicago. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have a CinemaWAR looking at James Gunn's new DCEU, plus some trivia. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
In the iconic raunchy comedy Sausage Party, Seth Rogen plays a character named Frank, who discovers that the gods of their world, the humans who buy the groceries at the grocery store, are not all they're cracked up to be. Here, Frank gets on the loudspeaker system and tries to tell his fellow groceries what's really going on.
Friends. Ramen. Country Club lemonade. Lend me your ears of corn. I am Frank, and I am a sausage. A little sausage with some pretty big news. Everything we've been led to believe is a lie. When we get chosen by the gods, they're choosing us for death, murder, automatic expiration. The great beyond is bullshit. What? That's crazy talk. You liar! I know you don't want to believe it, but I have proof.
Sparkling drinks, it all colored dandy, 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 dandy.
And we are back on CinemaJaw, hanging out at the Fan Expo in Chicago. It's been a blast so far, Matt.
Yeah, it is. What was the most interesting thing you saw today?
Well,
at
I
Fan
bought
Expo?
some new dice.
You did. Let's talk about those dice really quick.
All right, really quick. There is obviously a huge market now for dice and handcrafted dice and
D&D dice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got your 8-sided, your 6-sided, your 20-sided. And so you go around these tables and people are selling dice. I was not buying them for D&D, but I have a game at home that I call Shut the Box,
Right.
which is where you roll 2 6-sided dice, regular dice for the jawheads that don't play Dungeons and Dragons. 2 regular dice. And I love the game, and it comes in this wood box, and Matt's played it with me.
Very finely crafted, yeah.
Very nice. But the dice they gave me,
Standard
and very cheap, light, and I always said to myself, boy, I want to buy something with a little heft, a little bit nicer dice.
And you got, I think, some pretty cool.
Bought some two dice.
Hey, we
Pretty
should throw a little picture on our Instagram.
We will.
So people listening the jawheads can go and see these dice.
And even cooler, was you paid for whatever you rolled on the dice.
That was cool.
That was pretty neat. So I picked up the dice and I rolled. And, obviously I'm hoping for 1-0. Is there a 0 on the dice?
No.
No 0. But all right, I was
Double
hoping.
ones would have been your lowest.
I would have been hoping for 1-1. That would have been awesome. But I rolled 3-3, so it was $3.33.
Was it $3.33?
Oh, no, it was $6.
$6.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Still not bad.
It was so cheap, I couldn't believe it that I was buying it for the nice dice that they were. $6 for those 2 dice was.
Could have been 12.
I mean, I just paid $12 for this beer.
Right. I know. Seriously. So the weirdest thing I saw was Darth Vader and Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, taking a selfie together. That's pretty strange. I mean, it was just like a weird out-of-body thing.
Sure.
You don't see that every day.
I
Great
like
costumes.
I do like seeing everybody dressed up and having fun.
Me too.
A lot of fun. Before we get to our big CinemaWAR, we're going to grab somebody off of the floor here. Before we get to that and before we play trivia, we threw a few items into the fish tank. Let's open it up.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a great week to be out of the fish tank this week because of the spectacle of it all. Right? We're having a good time. We're drinking beers. We're having pizza. It feels like 2019 again.
It does.
And I hope you guys can hear, because this is my way of subtly making an out to make my edit easier. I'm hoping you guys can hear the 2019 vibes, because Phil's certainly not about to cut out all of the ambient.
No, nor should you.
We do. So we have two questions, and one of these I'm a little disappointed in all of us, really, for. But, so let's start with this is super exciting, okay? Our first one, who is the main actress in The Girl with All the Gifts, and is that film streaming? Relatively, I do not know this human being at all. This is not a name that's ever come across my radar. I looked up her filmography, and even some of these other credits I'm not entirely sure of. The lead actress in that is Senua Nanwa. She played Melanie, the titular girl with all of those gifts. And she was on BBC's Casualty, a series, and another indie film called Frankie. Definitely an indie darling, but all of her filmography is really well received and well liked.
Nice.
So definitely one of these people who's not in stuff for the money of it all, or not in stuff, but in good stuff.
For the
really
art.
good stuff.
For the art.
Interesting.
And then, okay, and I love it. I love it when we have a streaming question that I can actually answer satisfyingly. It is on Amazon Prime. The Girl with All the Gifts is on Amazon Prime, so...
Nice.
I gotta watch it, Ryan.
Do it.
Yeah.
You would
have
love it.
access.
Being
I
a
know.
zombie movie fan, you would love it.
Okay.
The other thing, if you're anything like me and you hate the Amazon Prime HUD, the user interface...
They all suck.
Amazon Prime's is particularly bad, I think.
So you say.
And if you're even more like me and you love your local library, we love to see it. We love to see it. It is on Hoopla.
Nice.
It is on Hoopla for free for everybody. Even if you don't like Jeff Bezos, even if you're not on Prime, you have the access. Unless your library hates you, in which case I will personally write an email to your local library. Say Chicago celebrity Phil Fujiwara is disappointed that you do not provide Hoopla to your
Will
to
you
your
help
library
me
citizens.
get my account hooked up to Hoopla, Phil?
Matt, you gotta. How do you
Shame
not?
on you, Matt.
How
Do
are
you have yours hooked up to
Yeah,
Hoopla?
of
Yes.
course.
Oh, okay.
How are you my friend and don't have a Hoopla through your local library?
Well, I'm sure I do. I just have not taken advantage of it.
We're getting close to Halloween season. I think it's absolute best for cheap
For horror, yeah.
Yeah. It has a lot of great cheap horror that probably a lot of people would find on Shudder,
Yeah.
but it's free.
It's
on
free.
Hoopla, and
Okay.
you can just
The
get it
huge
through
ad-
your local library.
The huge advantage to Hoopla that I will always champion as well, because it's for whatever reason, the library districts consider themselves somehow higher brow because they're libraries. The international selection on Hoopla,
Is fantastic.
Yep.
incredible.
All right.
There you go.
I mean, I was sold. I just want help hooking it up.
Then, okay, so I absolutely can. Because especially, like, I'm disappointed in all of us, really. We were talking about Event Horizon. We were talking about the secondary people to Sam Neill and the surrounding cast to Sam Neill. How dare us have a movies podcast that we've been doing for over a decade and not remember...
Almost 2.
Not remember dip-dang Larry Fishburne.
Oh, my goodness.
Lawrence Fishburne is who you were thinking of.
I guess that is who I was thinking of. In my mind, I thought it was I still don't think it was Larry Fishburne who I was thinking of. I forgot that he was actually in it, but...
It's a forgettable movie. That's what
I liked it.
You've been red-pilled, Ryan.
Yeah.
You have
You
been
had 2
red-pilled.
hands, and you didn't listen to Lawrence's advice.
All right, was that everything in there?
That's all we got.
Next week on the show, Matt, we're looking at reviews of Gran Turismo.
Okay.
All right. Strays.
Okay.
The talking dog movie.
Yeah, trying to avoid that one. Yeah.
And Blue Beetle.
Oh, wow.
And so...
I mean, this is the place to do it from.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're going to have a cinema war here. But that's next week. We're done in the jaw box for now, the fish tank, whatever we're calling it. Jump back in there, Phil.
You bet.
With Blue Beetle coming out, we wanted to have this cinema war where we were arguing about what James Gunn should do with the DCEU, taking over DCEU films.
Right.
We have Jason here, who we just got off of the panel, going to judge this cinema war. Phil, tell the jawheads at home what today's cinema war topic is.
Yeah, listen, jawheads, okay, everybody knows. We're not only the greatest movies podcast ever, but we like to get down to brass tacks and talk about the hard-hitting question. And this week's hard-hitting question on Cinema War: what is the best course of action for James Gunn? As the new chairman of the DCEU, Rye the Movie Guy is saying, out with the old and in with the new. Stop connecting these films together and just move on with individual films. Matt's saying, in Rye's hand lies the smoking James Gunn, and the MCU's model of interconnected storytelling is all the evidence you need to prove comic book movies are best in shared universes. Like always on Cinema War, there can only be one winner, and we're going to see who's got a series of cohesive, interconnected points and arguments, and who's just a sweaty dweeb clinging on to childish collectibles, albeit in the original packaging. Let this Cinema War begin.
Matt, we found somebody to judge cinema war.
Yeah, we got Jason from Boise, Idaho. He's going to judge this battle. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, Matt?
All right. Right, since the invention of the printing press, people have coveted continuity in their stories. Film began as serials, connected stories, connective in a film universe. It's difficult, but rewarding because that's what the people want.
Follow your strengths. DC has made some of the best superhero movies of all time. They allowed Nolan to do Batman, Joaquin Phoenix to play the Joker. These films worked because they were good. As long as you're making high-quality films, people will like. Connecting every film you make was, a decade ago, was cool. Let that ship sail. The novelty's worn off.
Yeah, well...
Quality standalone films is what we want.
I still like Avengers Endgame, and I agree that every film should stand alone, but some connective tissue to give it cohesion and a sense of a bigger world is a good thing. There's only so much you can do in 2 hours, but over 25 films, that's world building.
Yeah, but when the MCU was building towards Endgame, it worked. Since then, a complete miss. I actually don't even know what phase we're on or what's going on that connects the universe anymore. What's worse is this ties Marvel's hands together. Screw that. I like DC. I like what DC is leaning into, the Elseworlds. Give them way more freedom to tell multiple stories and not worry about connecting it.
Yeah, Marvel did it first with What If, and don't listen to him, Jason, because it's you, Ryan. You don't want everything to connect because you're ignorant of the mythology involved, and it makes you feel dumb. Don't let your personal feelings cloud your judgment. Give in to the dark side and connect your films, like Star Wars.
Jason, since 2008, Marvel has had one person play Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. In that time, we've had 4 Batmen. Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, Michael Keaton reprised his role. Plus, we meet a young Bruce Wayne in the Joker movie. Sticking to standalone films in different universes allows us to get many different takes on the character, something all comic book fans should love.
I mean, how do you know that's not all just one multiverse, Ryan? The DCEU significantly needs to connect. In a world with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, let's build into a big enough threat to take them all on. Otherwise, we'll get another boring, flat villain like Lex Luthor that we've already seen 1,000 times.
All right. Connecting your films also means their style must be the same. We have seen Sony knock the roof off with the animated take on the Spider-Man. We had DC give us a Batman noir with the Batman. Now Joker 2 is supposed to be a musical. This all sounds awesome, and all allowed because we do not have to worry about connecting one movie to the next. As William Wallace once screamed at the end of Braveheart, freedom!
Wow, you went there.
We are button heads here on CinemaWAR, as we do when we have these Cinema Wars. We throw it over to our guest, Jason. What did you think of this CinemaWAR?
You know, you both make really good points, obviously, right? Because you do have, there's a lot of good spots with the connectivity and stuff like that, making you know you're coming back to a movie, and you're going to have a lot of the same, you know, the story's going to bridge off of something else, characters are going to be the same as they come before and stuff like that. But there is, I think, you get locked into things for sure, and it's tough to stay consistent when you're doing that. So, like when we had, what was the mage, the magician. I'm losing his
Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange, like the newest one that Sam Raimi did was, I mean, it was still part of the same universe, but it was way different in that context. So it was like, it was disconnected. But it was still a part of that, so it was weird.
It was a little weird.
So if they would have reined it in, it probably would have felt better, but it probably wouldn't have been as good. And that's one of my favorites that have come up recently, only because it like was different. It was unique and fun and Sam Raimi-ish and stuff like that. I do like that the DC universe or the DC cinematic universe is a little bit disconnected here and there. We've done a lot of different things, but I also like that because they've been doing a very poor job in like trying to create that universe, and so having the separation allows them to explore other things until they get the thing that works, and they just haven't done that unless you go into the animation stuff. Their animation stuff is
not
amazing.
counting the animation.
But personally, I'm just gonna have to go over here. I like the disconnected
Standalone.
stuff.
Thank you.
Standalone is just, I think overall is better. I do know like small arcs work really, really well. I wish they would have just left it with half the universe dead in the Marvel. That would have been an amazing end.
I got to admit, you made a good argument, and of course that Braveheart quote at the end probably
that was the sell.
It really won me over, right?
It did.
But I will say, I think we're on the same point. If DC is having trouble connecting it, don't connect it then.
Yeah,
They're doing just fine when they do the standalone films. Those are their absolute best. Give us more Joker, the Batman, you know, so on and so forth. It's working for them. That's what works.
You almost won me over on that argument. You really did. Jason, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Enjoying your time here?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Matt, that earns me 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever I want. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm having a good time here at Fan Expo.
Enjoying your new dice.
Yes, and enjoying my new dice. We missed out on C2E2, which is another one that we go to that rolls through Chicago. And so I'm glad we got out here. This is fun. Hopefully tomorrow we get to see Sam Raimi.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what we're hoping for here on
I got the app. Did you download the app?
No
okay.
chance.
I did. So I'll set the schedule for us, Ryan.
2 days of Matt, Phil, and Rye walking around, drinking beer, having a good time at Fan Expo.
What else is there in life?
I love it. So if there is a Fan Expo, a Comic-Con in your area, get out there, have some fun.
Hell yeah.
See the sights, hear the sounds.
Do it for Rye the Movie Guy. That was a beautiful rant and rave.
It was. And I introduced Ryan to Comic-Cons. He'd never been to one before.
Of course not.
Way back in the day, the first one he ever went to was C2E2.
Yeah, it's my first.
I think that was the first C2E2 you went to as well.
Oh, you think that was the first one?
It was. It was C2E2 number one, and it was also your first.
Interesting. All right. Trivia this week. In honor of Heart of Stone, we're playing Stone movie trivia. You need 3 or more to not be stumped.
Should I get stoned?
Question number 1 over to you, Matt.
All right.
Everybody loves that joke, Matt. Question number 1 to you. The heart of the ocean was a diamond stone in what movie?
Titanic.
That is correct.
Okay.
1-0, Matt K. Question number 2. Who directed Romancing the Stone?
Oh, wow. I love Romancing the Stone.
We celebrated this
Yes.
not even that long ago.
Don't give him too many hints. Don't give him too many hints. I love when Matt doesn't know after like
Danny DeVito?
This is one
Oliver
of those.
Stone.
We
Was it
love
right?
the moments where people are yelling
You-
at their car stereos.
You binged correct.
I'm sorry. You are incorrect. I'm telling you, Matt, we talked about this about 2-3 months ago when we were celebrating Robert Zemeckis month. And we even did a draft. And I believe you took Romancing the Stone on the Robert Zemeckis draft.
Why wouldn't you? It's easy to do when you're staring at his filmography on a list in front of you. But when you're trying to come up with it on the hot seat, Ryan, it's not so easy. You got to sit on this hot seat once in a while, pal.
It is hot. It is hot. It is 2 questions in, and Matt has 1 correct.
All right. That's not bad.
No, you need 2 more. Here you go. Who played Ron Weasley in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone?
Rupert Grint.
All right, you're on the board again. That is correct. Matt's got 2 out of 3.
Sorcerer's Stone. I was trying to find the connection. Okay.
Yep. This 2-time Oscar winner has starred in 2016's Hands of Stone and 2010's Stone. 2-time Oscar winner starred in Hands of Stone and Stone.
2010 was Stone? And when was Hands of Stone?
2016.
2-time Oscar winner. 2-time. So it's not Meryl Streep, because she's more than 2-time Oscar winner. Hugh Jackman.
Who's never won an Oscar.
No, he's a 2-time Oscar winner. He is.
Believe it or not, we were looking for Robert De Niro.
Oh.
Robert De Niro starred in Hands of Stone, which was a boxing movie, and Stone opposite Ed Norton.
Never would have come up with that in my life.
Stone, opposite Ed Norton, opened up the Chicago International Film Fest one year, and I went. Not a good movie. That's all I have to say about that.
All right.
We are through 4 questions, and Matt has 2 right. I love when this happens because it comes down to the last question. You either are stumped or you are not stumped, Matt. Here we go. Name the 2005 film that starred Sarah Jessica Parker, Diane Keaton, Claire Danes, Rachel McAdams, and Luke Wilson.
Are you freaking kidding me? 2005?
2005.
Who was the first person?
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Uh-huh.
Diane Keaton, Claire Danes, Rachel McAdams, Luke Wilson.
It's got to be some kind of stone. The Family Stone.
Oh, my God. I had no idea you would know this movie.
I don't know the movie. It just popped into my head, Ryan.
Wow.
Sometimes they talk to me.
Every once in a while, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Matt got this one correct. 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
You are not stumped this week.
That's right. That's right.
Unfortunately, we can't play Bobby D. Too bad.
That's all right.
There's always next week, Matt.
Always next week, Ryan. In fact, we're going to record next week tomorrow.
Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
We're here at Fan Expo, so might as well fit 2 in.
Yeah. Take a week off.
Yes.
We earned it.
We did, but we got more recording to go tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Ryan.
So don't say week off. The Jawheads won't know this.
True. So no week off.
No. Not in their heads. I
No.
mean, the downloads will still keep coming because we put in the work, Matt. We'll get 2 in here.
We do. It's called batching.
It is.
Yep.
We will get 2 here. This is a great time, and we're going to go enjoy ourselves.
We are.
Brings us to the end of the podcast. First and foremost, we got to thank Phil. They're half in the bag. Phil, thanks for everything.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else other than in the bag. And while we're at it, okay, one, let me just say, we love Fan Expo. Thank you guys so much for having us. We love Jason from Idaho. Thank you so much for hosting that CinemaWAR so I didn't have to choose my favorite parent. And Okay, we're still getting on this because it's like Jesus Christ getting so close. Another art show at Reggie's in Chicago, Pancakes and Boobs, September 29th and 30th.
Oh.
Reggie's in Bridgeport. Still plugging that at Peachy Art on Instagram. It's too much, but we love this.
Is there a link for that show?
We'll put it in there.
We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes.
I'm actually going to Reggie's this Sunday for the Sox. Going there like a group, and they bus you over to the Sox Park.
Oh, nice.
Scope out a good spot for me to set up. I will. Be like, this is Phil's corner. This is where they go.
I love Reggie's.
Totally. We also got to thank the Patreons.
Thank you, Patreons. And if you want to get in on all the fun that we have over on Patreon, go to patreon.com/CinemaJaw. We got bonus episodes for any level. If you support us for a nickel, you get the bonus episodes. It's totally worth it.
The other way to support us is by leaving us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. Just hit 5 stars. That's fine. If you want to actually write a written review, we'd love it even more. But at least put a star rating wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Please.
Always helps attract new listeners. Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt K.
And keep on jawing about the movies.